I want to do a new segment. Probably going to do it reoccurringly throughout the show as the show evolves. It's quarterback power rankings because I love talking about quarterbacks, and I know that quarterbacks can be up and down just like you. So I had put 10 on the list. We're going to talk about 5 briefly. I want to mention the other 5. So at 10, I got Casey Thompson at Texas. 9, I got Arizona State's quarterback Jaden Daniels. At 8, I got Keaton Slovis at USC. At 7, I got Miles Brennan at LSU. And at 6, I got Derek Keem at Miami. Fight me. All right, get to 5. So at number 5, I got a dude that's going to be a first-year starter who's going to have a new offensive coordinator who returns almost nobody from the previous year. And that's Bryce Young, right? Now, the reason I got Alabama's Bryce Young at 5 is precisely that, right? He does not have Steve Sarkisian calling the plays for him like he might have had if he was the starter in 2019. He's also a first-year starter, and I believe in having returning starters at quarterback because having those starts is so important. But he's got John Mechie over there catching passes for him. He's adding Jamison Williams from Ohio State, who's immediately eligible. He's got a Jai Hall, who he seemed to have a pretty nice connection with during the spring game. And he's going to have Brian Robinson along with Roy Dell and Jace in the backfield. It's about whether or not they're going to be able to protect him because you lose really some hitters on that offensive line. Deontay Brown, Landon Dickerson, Alex Leatherwood among them. But I think that Bryce is sitting pretty here at the 5 spot. I know that some people are going to get upset about that, but you can't argue with having a new offensive coordinator and a new system and not having started a game for Alabama. All right, number 4. I got a dude who showed up in a big way to end the 2020 season and also is just now becoming the sort of quarterback that we thought he could be when he first started playing the position 2 years ago. It's JT Daniels, right, at Georgia. Now, many of you know Daniels started his career out at USC, got injured, made way for one of the dudes on this list, Keaton Slovis, for all the folks that are like, yo, can Clay Helton recruit? He recruited Keaton Slovis and he recruited JT Daniels. And Matt Fink went for over 300 against Utah. Like, what more do you want? What are we talking about here? But Daniels didn't start the season for Georgia in 2020. And there's a great argument. Shout out to Javion on the what if part of this. If JT Daniels starts the 2020 season as Georgia's starting quarterback, do they play for a national championship game? I would love to hear your answer at the number 1 show on the Twitters, on the IGs, on the Facebooks, because they started the season with Dwan Mathis, who is now the starting quarterback at Temple. And they pivoted away from Mathis to a walk-on who is not Baker Mayfield, will never be Baker Mayfield, but is Stetson Bennett. And you ran with Stetson Bennett against what would be the national champ and the team to go 13-0 and undefeated in an all SEC regular season schedule. Then you could play JT Daniels later in the year. And then JT Daniels goes off, has himself a closer of a game against Cincinnati. Now, the things that I don't like about JT Daniels last year are things that are fixed this year. You also return Todd Monken as his offensive coordinator, and you get almost everybody back. Now, the reason that he's probably 4 on this list has to do with, can he still read these coverages? Because there were some things against Cincinnati that he did that I was going, how do you not check out of that play? How do you not check out of a run when you see 8 in the box, right? How do you not check into something when you see that they are backing off of you and go to a run, right? But that said, he still threw for a bunch of yards and won a Peach Bowl against what I thought was one of the best group of 5 teams in all of football last year. Then add that JT Daniels returns Kearis Jackson, right? Gets Jermaine Burton, has Darnell Washington out there. He gets Dominique Blaylock. He loses George Pickens, though. We don't know for how long. We do know it's an ACL injury that he suffered in spring, and George Pickens has been basically the only set of reliable hands at Georgia for the past 2 years, and I think could be a first-round draft pick no matter what he decides to do in 2021. Okay, number 3 on the list, a returning starter of sorts, but a dude who is the most tooly quarterback in college football today. He's 6'4", 6'5", about 250, can throw a football over the mountains and can move well. That is Clemson's DJ Uiagalelei. Now, first, shout out to me because I can say his whole name, unlike some of y'all's favorite analysts, because I was in the mirror practicing and have been practicing for the better part of 3 years because I knew that this 5-star was going to be a dude, and I'm not going to be the man out here in college football media not being able to say DJ Uiagalelei. Okay. Also, that man brought Clemson back against Boston College in a game that they should have lost to Boston College, where Travis Etienne could not run the ball and was fumbling the ball on the goal line. Travis Etienne just got drafted in the first round. DJ Uiagalelei, in his first start, shows up and says, give me the ball, watch what I do with it. And then when you lose the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and a dude that is responsible for leading you to the college football playoff every year that he started at Clemson, here comes DJ Uiagalelei against Notre Dame on the road in a game that they damn near won, throwing for all the yards. He got those starts. He performed well on those starts. He gets Justin Ross back. We think he's going to be cleared to play wide receiver for Clemson. And he's going to be breaking in a new tailback, but I like Lynn J. Dixon behind him, right? He's one of my college football short kings 2021. Check that list. But I also believe that you're going to be able to see more out of DJ Uiagalelei this year because he's going to be more comfortable. He is far and away the best starter that they've had. And I think he's more talented than Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I said it. I think he is more talented than Trevor Lawrence. We'll see what he has when it's really his show to run. But I have all faith in what Brandon Streeter, quarterback coach at Clemson, is able to do. And we all know that Tony is one of them dudes, right? Because Tony Elliott has been one of them dudes for some time. I'm all in on the DJ Uiagalelei experience, if for no other reason than, once again, I could say his name. Sam Howell at number 2 here, right? I got Sam Howell at number 2 because, well, you saw my mock draft, but also this is one of the most accomplished true freshman quarterbacks that we had seen since Jameis Winston. And then as a sophomore, all he did was lead North Carolina to an Orange Bowl berth. Now, going into this 21 season, we're going to get to see what Sam Howell is made of, because last year was perhaps the most loaded year that UNC has had in quite some time with the weapons that they had at their disposal. De'Ami Brown, Daz Newsome, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, and those are just 4 of them dudes, right? All dudes that he was throwing to, all dudes that Phil Longo was like, yo, we're going to turn it up. We're going to go fast here. I do love the maturation of Sam Howell too, right? Because I call him Howitzer Howell because he can throw a football really, really far, but he's also really, really accurate. And I think if he can lead UNC to 9-10 wins this year, yeah, he's going to solidify his spot this year, but he's also going to have to grow some dudes up around him quick, fast, and in a hurry, because it's one thing to have an experienced starter at quarterback going into year 3. It is another thing not to have dudes on the same page with him that have been playing ball with him for at least the last year. So I want to see what Phil Longo and Sam Howell are able to do at UNC in this all-important year for Sam Howell and his NFL draft status, because this is one of those dudes that is going into this year penciled in as a first-round draft pick in 2022. And then at number 1, quarterback at Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler, for a number of reasons. And the first one is nothing to do with Rattler at all and everything to do with Lincoln Riley. You look at Lincoln Riley's track record as a quarterback's coach, you see Baker Mayfield, you see Kyler Murray, you see Jalen Hurts, and now you've seen the only guy that he's ever coached at Oklahoma out of high school in Rattler. Now, the knock against Rattler is he got pulled during the middle of OU Texas for Tanner Mordecai because he was losing control of the offense. And Lincoln said, all right, you need a timeout. Come stand by me for the rest of the first half. Throw him back in the game. And then Rattler leads you to a 4 overtime win against Texas. Wins Cotton Bowl also means that he got Lincoln Riley the first bowl win of his head coaching career, which is a thing we conveniently just miss. But also, he returns almost everybody on that offense, right? They lose Creed Humphrey at center, and they lose Adrian Ely over there at tackle, but you got Marvin Mims coming back, who was a freshman All-America with Spencer Rattler. You got Theo Weiss on the outside. You got Jaden Hazelwood, who was the number 1 wide receiver in the 2019 class. You got Austin Stogner at tight end, who's every bit of 6'6", 250. And you got Marcus Major joining Kennedy Brooks at tailback, along with, Eric Gray, who was a man amongst men in the SEC at Tennessee last year. Also, Ty Chandler, who was at Tennessee with him over at North Carolina with your man Sam Howell. So today, going into the summer, those are my top 10, listening the whole way, quarterbacks in the power rankings. We'll see how this looks come training camp. We'll see how this looks come football, and I'm sure that this is going to be a week-to-week bit. Let me know what you think of the list at #1show on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook.